If this is what we think it is, a huge Ethereum rally in October, then this is the last time you have seen a 5 in front of the Bitmine price, because we are skyrocketing over the next couple of 3 months. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
Welcome to a brand new vlog. If you don't know who I am, my name is Danny and I'm looking for stocks that go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x. I invested all my life savings into Tesla when it was a $17 company. It went to 6, I averaged down. I think most of you guys would bail out as I'm reading the comments, specifically those negatives, and they are saying like, oh, you know, Bitmine is down 20%. Guys, I was down 60% with my life savings into Tesla, and the headlines were Tesla going bankrupt, Elon Musk is crazy, and so on and so forth. So you can see that you need to have the balls to be invested in companies that we are talking about here on this channel. If you don't have, then click that X and go away from this channel. Otherwise, stay tuned, because those that stay tuned with me bought apartments and houses in the US. So it's very interesting to stay tuned, and to make sure to check out instantdaytrading.com, our only own product that I created. I invested over $1 million in our software, where it's allowing us to send you all the trades all automatically. We try to get around like 8 to 15% return of investment per month. We're trading options. We use only 5% of your portfolio for each trade. So if you start with $10,000, this is the minimum. So only schedule a call with me if you have $10,000 or more. We would love to have you around like $58,000 at the end of the first 12 months. If this is interesting for you, all done for you. You don't have to do anything. Check out instantdaytrading.com. Now, let's talk about the October. Yes, usually, as you know, from those 2 charts, we talked about the Ethereum seasonality, which is actually quite bullish towards the end of the year, okay? So October is not a bad month. And just 1st of October, what do we see? We see a rally in Ethereum. Like, it would be like order. And obviously, Bitmine is doing a multiple of what Ethereum is doing, right? So if Ethereum makes, 5, 10, 12, 13% move, in October, then most probably we see, Bitmine at like $60, $65, $70 per share in October. And then we obviously will see much bigger numbers towards the end of the year, because then the whole stock market is going up. And also for Ethereum, December is usually the strongest month, but the quarter 4, the last quarter of the year, when everything gets cold and everybody's sitting at home, this is usually the best quarter for stock and also for Ethereum. So let's dive in first. Why is the rally? Is there something out there, right? So let's dive in and see what we got. So I looked into Ethereum, and the number 1 source for news and updates is always x.com, okay? Like, this is very important. If you want to learn something, is there something new about BMNR? I always check out, X and YouTube are the best sources of information, in my personal opinion. So we are going into ETH, okay? So the search term that we're looking for is ETH, to see, okay, what are the most hosted and most interesting kind of topics here, okay? So you scroll down and then you see like, okay, Ethereum closed September above the key level 4,100, and it looks extremely bullish on both the weekly and monthly chart. So most probably that we saw that is kind of like a technical, let's say, currents, okay? So, that chart that I showed here about Ethereum the other day, that we are now getting into like a volume gap for Ethereum. So I think that if Ethereum can here really push through, it can really explode, right? And then you can see, many people are sharing here that they see this huge price targets, now that we swept the 4K lows, I can see Ethereum starting to grind higher, still choppy in weeks ahead, and so on and so forth. So you can see here that many people are actually saying also that this was very bullish, okay? So it was bullish that we tested that, what was it, like 4,100 levels, or even 4,000 below 4,000. I think the lowest one in the last couple of days we were at 3,800, and then we bounced back, right, which is quite important at this important level, right? So then you can see here, different, kind of accumulations. But I saw something quite interesting. I saw something that if you check Ethereum and then you put Binance, I saw something quite interesting as well, okay? I saw that Binance is acquiring a lot of Ethereum right now. Here it is, okay? Breaking, Binance buying hundreds of millions of ETH now, okay? This could be also helping the whole narrative for Ethereum to go higher. And then, there's always the question, do they see something or know something that we don't know? So, that's always the information that you need to put together. But why the seasonality is so important and why October is usually a good month? Well, I found an amazing clip that I want to share with you. So let's dive into that. But before we diving into that, make sure to check out xnDayTrading.com. And if you want us to trade for you, if you have $10,000, schedule a call with me. We have always limited places, so we see if we can help you as well. But now let's go to the club.
You've probably heard the saying, sell in May and go away. But is there any truth to it? In this video, we'll break down what seasonality is, how it affects both traditional markets and crypto, and whether you should actually care. In finance, seasonality just means that certain patterns tend to repeat at specific times of the year. They're usually driven by predictable investor behavior during recurring events like tax deadlines, bonuses, or holidays. For example, stocks often underperform from May through September, hence the phrase, sell in May and go away. Then comes summer break, and markets tend to see a lull from June to August. Or take the Santa Claus rally, where stocks often rise in late December. This might be because investors sell off underperforming assets early in December to harvest tax losses, then buy back into stronger performers as the year closes. But what about crypto? Since crypto is closely tied to the stock market, it's no surprise that we see many similar seasonal patterns, though not without differences. January is often a good month for Bitcoin, with historically positive returns, possibly driven by fresh capital entering the market at the start of the year. February is usually solid too, making Q1 generally favorable for crypto. March, however, tends to be more volatile. Bitcoin had negative returns in 9 out of the last 15 Marches, though its average return was still positive. This might have something to do with tax season in the US and UK, when investors might sell crypto to cover bills for capital gains taxes. April, however, often brings recovery. It's historically Bitcoin's second best performing month from 2011 to 2024, only behind November. Why? Perhaps because once taxes are out of the way, investors buy back in or rebalance their portfolios for Q2. Then comes the May to September stretch. Sell in May and go away is an old saying that points to a tendency for markets to underperform during this time of year. Though the reality's a bit more nuanced, July, for instance, often does pretty well for stocks. Crypto also tends to slow down during this time. From 2011 to 2024, data shows that while May can still be decent, things start to cool off more noticeably in the summer. August and particularly September are Bitcoin's weakest months on average, posting slightly negative returns. With traders on holiday and market activity dipping, prices can move sideways or even down for a bit. This mirrors the September effect in US stocks, where September has been on average the worst performing month for equities. Many believe it's due to investors returning from summer vacation to realize gains or harvest losses before the year ends. Cue the Green Day reference. Wake me up when September ends. Going towards the end of the year, this is when Bitcoin typically shines. October, or Uptober as some like to call it, and November have produced some of Bitcoin's strongest average returns. This could be because of end-of-year portfolio rebalancing or even holiday bonuses hitting wallets. Interestingly, these months also coincided with Bitcoin's major cycle tops back in 2013, 2017, and 2021. What about the Santa Claus rally? Does it affect Bitcoin? In stocks, the Santa rally refers to the tendency for markets to rise during the last week of December into the new year. For Bitcoin, though, it's more of a mixed bag. So it seems Santa has shown up more reliably for stocks than for crypto. The other overarching theory for seasonality is simply market psychology. If enough investors and traders believe certain months behave a certain way, the market often follows, making it a self-fulfilling prophecy. September is bad for prices, October means up only. You get the idea. But at the end of the day, seasonality is just one lens for looking at the markets. Things like fundamentals, macroeconomic trends, and regulations likely matter more.
Yeah, what a fantastic clip by CoinGecko here. I love these animations. I love the explanation. So you can see here that even though crypto and the stock market is so much connected these days, usually you see like what is happening on the crypto market because it's such a high risk, high volatile asset. You usually see it sometimes now very similar to the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is an index of 2,000 small to medium cap companies, like, a company that is worth, on the market, let's say $1 billion, right? So, and actually, you see that this index usually goes up and down like an early indicator, right? So, and crypto is the same. So usually I can expect like in October, crypto start to going up, and then the stock market maybe make another dip. By the way, October is a 50-50 chance now that it's either red or green, right? After out of character September, usually the numbers are like kind of equal. So let's see if we have really like a bad October, but you should definitely be ready for some volatility, okay? That's coming for sure in October, right? So because now the bears and the bulls will fight with each other and trying to, overcome each other. There need to be also interesting news about the markets, which can also push in either direction and help either the bulls or the bears. And now when the Ethereum going up, this will be the main catalyst for Bitmine to reach a fantastic level. And then you have the November and December push. So you can have now maybe the lowest Bitmine that you will have for a very, very long time. Because once we break through like $60, $70, like $100 is next very, very fast. And then it's very hard to go back to 50. Maybe it will come back to 70 and then go up to 150, 200 and so on. So remember that, and they are just accumulating more and more Ethereum. So the story continues in the background, plus the market, plus the seasonality. It will be a very, very exciting couple of weeks. So thank you very much for watching. Check out the link into the description. Make sure to subscribe to both channels, and I see you tomorrow. And remember, the grass is greener always on the other side.